Hi, everyone. I am Kim Shapira. I am your nutrition coach for Trimley, and I'm here today to talk about building balanced meals and having the right nutrients and the right portions. So, let's talk about how to create satisfying meals that will support your weight loss goals. Okay, so much to talk about. Where do I even start? I want to start by briefly describing your digestive tract. I know it's slightly off topic, but stick with me for 1 second. Let's not talk about digestive tract. Let's talk about your circadian rhythms, which are your wake and your sleep and your body's way of naturally keeping the regulation of your metabolism going. There's a part of our liver that actually is responsible for taking our blood sugar and putting it into our bloodstream. And this is important when we're talking about when is the right time to eat and balance meals, because we use blood sugar to function completely. And without it, we would slip into a coma and perhaps die. When it's too high, it's not being used by our cells, then we develop all sorts of diseases. So it's true when they say that blood sugar is the link to longevity and the quality of your life. And the time that you eat your meals and the way that you eat your meals is actually even more important than anything. So just think about this. You have in your liver what's called a glucostat. Gluco meaning glucose, carbohydrate breaks down to glucose, and when we have muscles, we store it as glycogen. So this glucostat inside of our liver is reading like a gas tank, and it's constantly putting sugar into our bloodstream 24 hours a day. That we actually have about a teaspoon of blood sugar available for any single cell at any single moment. This is really important because it only has about 5 hours of fuel, which means that in order to keep your blood sugars balanced, we need to eat about every 2 to 4 hours. If you don't eat within a 5 hour window, the glucostat thinks that your body is in trouble and it sends signals to your body saying, slow down and will conserve everything as fat. So, as you're losing weight and as you're working to maintain this weight loss, it's really important to remember to respect your body. And that means to help your body feel comfortable and safe. And by eating every 3 hours, we are already making that happen. Okay. How should I say this? If we're not hungry every 3 hours, and maybe early on in your weight loss journey, you're finding that you're not hungry. Well, the medications are definitely going to make it so you're not thinking about food. And if you are somebody who has a lot of weight to lose or has a body fat higher than 24%, my guess is you're not that hungry to begin with yet. But our basic metabolic regulation, which is to breathe and to function and to think, still requires calories. We need a minimum of 1,200 calories every single day just to function. Anytime we get out of bed and we move and we're moving our hands and we're getting our 10,000 steps, our calorie needs increases. And if you don't eat every 3 hours, your body thinks that you're starving or that there's a famine, and it will actually hold on to whatever you are eating. So it can be deemed healthy or unhealthy. A calorie is a calorie when you're not eating or when you overate, and it will store it as fat. So just to help your body feel safe, we need to get in the habit of eating every 3 hours. If you are somebody who is just starting to lose weight and you have a high body fat, like I said, you won't be as hungry. So your portions should be small, but they should be consistent every 3 hours. Okay. Does anyone have any questions from just what I've said so far? I get hungry after dinner and want to have a little something. Mm. Does that count as having food every few hours? No. Great question. So ideally, I'd like you to eat within 30 minutes to 1 hour of waking up, and I would like you to stop eating about 3 to 6 hours before you lay down to go to bed. So you always hear me talk about sleep, and we'll get into it later. Not today, at another time, but sleep is something that we need to preserve as critical and always have a schedule of when we go to sleep and when we wake up. If we eat close to bed, it actually causes us not to be able to go into a deep sleep. A deep sleep is where we have a lot of restoration, and we're going to get into that at a later date. So, ideally, I'd like you not to eat after dinner. Eating after dinner is actually a habit, and this is one that we can break. So, your brain always needs to know that you're safe. And if you're having a craving or want something because you did it the night before, we kind of sleepwalk through our day, and it's likely that we're going to do it again unless you're intentional. So tonight, start tonight, be intentional where you're deciding that after dinner, the kitchen is closed and whatever you think you want, just save it for tomorrow when you are hungry. This will help you be able to sleep better, and that will help you actually maintain your weight. Okay, so how do we have balanced meals? What does a balanced meal look like? It doesn't just mean protein. It doesn't just mean a piece of fruit. I hope I have enough time to go over this with all of you. If we're eating 4 or 5 times a day, there's plenty of time and room to get all the nutrition we need. We don't need protein at every meal, just like we don't need fruit at every meal, just like we don't need milk. But we need to make sure that in our refrigerator, we have things that we can easily grab to snack on, like fruits, vegetables, and yogurts. Those are perfect, and they help balance out the rest of your day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I always recommend having 2 or 3 different types of food at each meal. This increases our satiety and how satisfied we feel. If I just had pasta at dinner, I would definitely eat more pasta than I needed. But if I had pasta and, let's say, turkey meatballs and a salad and some fruit or some vegetables, I'm more likely going to eat less pasta. So it's not that pasta makes anybody gain weight or that it's bad. It's just that it's just carbohydrate, and that's great, but we do need more variety in every one of our meals. How does exercise affect the amount of times you should eat per day? It shouldn't. I know you want it to. I know sometimes people might feel hungrier. That's a good sign. Feeling hungry or hungrier is a great sign. It doesn't mean you need more food. So, exercise, depending on if you have a diagnosis, let's say diabetes or something else going on, then the recommendations of eating before you exercise would be important. But if you're trying to control your blood sugars, moving your body throughout the day, like going up and down the stairs, taking a walk before you eat, these kinds of things really help get that sugar that's in your bloodstream into the cell so we don't have high blood sugar. But exercise, maybe you can kind of clarify if I didn't answer you completely. Exercise just need to be part of your day as well, just as eating is part of your day too. I'm not sure I entirely answered that question, so please get a little more specific. So, what I would urge you guys to do is go to the market, get curious, and fall in love with foods that you haven't already tried, and add foods that are high in fiber, high in omega-3s, high in probiotic, like fermented foods. Get a variety of fruits and vegetables. Buy lean proteins. Buy all types of starches like potatoes and rice and quinoa and sweet potatoes and pastas. Have a variety of food available. And if it's important to you, then meal prep or meal plan, which is always going to help you be intentional. And when you're choosing your meal, try and add a variety of foods. I would say between 3 and 4 different types of food at each meal to help. So, like breakfast, I might have cereal, but I'm also adding flaxseed. Sometimes I'm adding fruit. My breakfast is maybe not as balanced, but soon after breakfast, my next meal might be a yogurt with some fruit and maybe some peanut butter. And then my lunch might be, I don't know, a salad or a sandwich. And my sandwich will have 1 or 2 different vegetables. I probably will have a side vegetable. It'll have a lean protein on it. Sometimes it's vegetarian. It can be different all the time, but the objective is to have 3 or 4 food groups per meal to help balance and get all the nutrition you can get. Okay. Good. I'm glad I answered it. Okay, so balanced meal, it really is depending on your blood sugars. Make sure you're eating every 3 hours and add a variety of foods to every meal. This will help with satiety and maintaining this. All right, you guys, this is all for now. Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.